good, everybody? It is your boys. We back once again, guys. Special edition of We Talk Mavs here on the Globe Mavs Production. Listen, I am the man fresh off the Fan Jam. It is your boy, Real. And joining me is the man I think was coaching the blue team for the Fan Jam. I'm not sure. It's my boy, King. What's up, man?
Nothing much, bro. But it ain't just me, man. Come on. Don't leave the other guys hanging. We got special guests on here.
We can get to them in a second. Just
okay, my bad. I'm doing too much. Well, then I should say this, then, guys. If you can't see my pretty face, I'm glad it's night with my pips. Then definitely check us out on podcast form, all your favorite podcast streaming platforms, any one of them. And if you could, in your heart, on Anchor, donate to us. Please do. It's not necessary, but we definitely love it. Back to you, Ruff.
Yes, sir, guys. You heard what he said, guys. We're on all podcast streaming services. If you guys want to listen to us in podcast form, you guys can do that. Now, for the main event, King has already, started it off already, so I'm going to go ahead and finish it. Listen, guys, you guys see who on the screen. This is nothing new. You guys are familiar with these guys. You follow these guys and their content. We have a very, very special edition of We Talk Mavs, like I said before. Let me go ahead and introduce you to the guests on our shows. First up, we got the man of the hour. We got DDP of the Dallas Prospects. What's good, man?
Not much, man. Excited to finally jump on here for a roundtable with you guys.
Yes, sir, man. We definitely appreciate you. And y'all already know who this guy is, man. He's returning, the man, the myth, my boy TGK. What's good, man?
Hey, man. What's up, man? I'm glad to be here. A little hiatus, but for the Mavs season, we're going to turn up, man.
Yes, sir, man. And, of course, we got the second half of the duo of the Dallas Prospects. We got my boy, Enyi. What's good, man?
Man, I'm doing good, bro. Y'all have a banging intro song. I was going, crazy with it. Not in my head. I got the gospel music and stuff. I like that. I like that.
For sure, man. And, of course, man, listen, this guy goes without any introduction. Is the man. I can't say the greatest of Baltimore. We got King on, too, man. King will probably get mad at me. But we got my boy, Bibs, man. What's good, Bibs?
Hey, what's going on? Appreciate y'all reaching out to me.
Yes, sir, man. From the Outsiders Podcast, man. The Mavs Outsiders Podcast. Y'all can follow him on all is it all podcast streaming services?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so you good. All right. Fellas, as we already addressed, the Mavs are about to get ready to start their season here. Not officially until the 19th, but the first preseason game is on the 5th, so I'm ready. I don't know about y'all. We're going to just have a general conversation about the Mavs here, guys, and kind of give our general thoughts on what we look forward to with this team going into the season, what we think this team is going to do, records, all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and start this off, man. Before we start this off, guys, does anybody on the panel still have the Suns in 4? Anybody? Still have the Suns in 4? All right. I just checked to see if
I actually posted a video. There was a particular Suns podcast during that series. And I think within game, I want to say it was either game 3 or game 4 after they either lost the first one or lost the second one, where the dude was like going off on fans like, look, no more Suns in 4. That is like the death knell to the Suns. Like as soon as we say that, bad shit happens to us. So they they were complaining about it. It was a very funny video I put together.
It's on brand though, right? They plan championship parades before they even like.
Oh yeah. If you heard them before the series, they were going like ham, saying that we weren't even as good as the Pelicans.
Right.
Saying that series is going to be easier for them.
I mean,
the Pelicans were.
To be fair, we got caught with the premature planning of a 06 parade, but at least we got like a couple games in the finals before we started trying that mess.
Right.
Yeah.
We learn from our mistakes.
Let me ask y'all a question, man. Speaking of us preparing. Did y'all guys, what was y'all's general thoughts of the mass practice, the live practice that they had yesterday, man? Let's get some of y'all's opinions on that. Because I think I took a little bit away from as far as a lot of the players on that team that I'm not going to lie. I'm going to go ahead and put it out there now. King, I'm going to go ahead and give you your props. You called this. I'm not saying I'm officially on it, but I'm keeping an eye on it, and that's the whole Josh Green movement. I know a lot of y'all been hearing about the whole Josh Green thing. See, Bibs know. Bibs, I know you one of the few of them that was actually talking about Josh Green and stuff on Twitter. Look, man, I told King this before. I feel like with him, it was never anything about talent or athleticism or anything like that. It was all about confidence, and he addressed that, on a couple of the news conferences that he had. Is about his confidence, and finally the team giving him confidence. And now that kind of helped him in helping them move forward and going into this season. I think we're gonna probably expect a lot from him. moving forward this season. He could probably even be that probably third ball handler too, but he could be that third wing defender that we've been kind of panning for to help out Reggie Bullock and Dodo. So, what's y'all opinions on the whole Josh Green thing?
I'll go last. I'll let the guys talk.
I mean, I'll jump in. It's all about the sugar glider on the Mavs Outsiders podcast. Josh Green, he got a bad deal. He came out, no training camp his first year, dealing with Rick Carlisle, who doesn't like young players. That can kill a player's confidence immediately. If you're coming out there, you get 2 minutes on the court, you make one mistake, and then you're going to the bench. Like that's a quick way to kill a prospect. So, Jason Kidd came in all last year, showing him love, trying to build that confidence back up. And then apparently right after we got eliminated, he was on the phone setting up with this trainer out in Vegas to spend the whole summer working on ball handling, getting his shot released quicker. And mostly, he said himself, working on that confidence and just having the confidence to believe his instincts and just act instead of thinking so much, which was probably his biggest problem. You could just see him thinking out there and hesitating. So I'm excited, man. So far, so good. Everybody seems excited on the team. So let's do it.
Yeah, he said he worked a lot with Lowry in the offseason as well, which I think definitely helps, just having an established guy like that. And I know Lowry obviously had a rough year as well, but having someone like that has, won a title and has been a big player for a long time, like believing in you and kind of pushing you that way certainly helps. And like you said, with Rick, it breaks down a lot of young guys. A lot of young guys struggle to kind of break through. I don't think Dennis Smith ever recovered from playing with Rick Carlisle. So it's one of those things where last year was kind of like the start of a reclamation process and kind of like almost like a rookie year part 2. And now we're starting to see him take that first real step to what they hoped he could be. And early indications are very promising. Like you said, the confidence is there. And that was probably the biggest thing, because there are areas of his game definitely to keep working on. But the flashes of what we've seen from him and that made him an interesting option for the Mavericks in the draft, you're starting to see that now as that confidence comes through and he just looks sure of himself, more assertive. In the postseason, it was the opposite. At times, he just had the deer in the headlights kind of look as plays were developing around him. Now, if he's taken that next step, then, I'm really fascinated to see where he can go.
Admittedly, I wasn't able to watch the fan jam or the live practice, but one of the things I see about Josh Green in the past is he seemed like he was a football player playing basketball, just all going through everybody, very unpolished, but he had the outlines as someone that can be very useful in terms of how good is he on defense, because he was very useful defensively for the Mavericks in the past. And then if we could mold him to be more of like a 3-point shooter, and also he has a way of playmaking as well that can be very useful. So he has some things about him that if we can mold him, he can be very useful. So hearing all this talk about, him blowing up, impressing people during the practice and the fan jam and stuff like that, it's very promising. And to Derek's point, he was talking about how he was practicing with Kyle Lowry in Las Vegas. It's one of the things I like about that is Kyle has a lot of wisdom about not only just being successful in the league, but also being a late bloomer too. Because remember in the beginning, Kyle Lowry, he kind of bounced around. He was okay in Houston, but he wasn't really that dude up until he got to Toronto. So he has a lot to say. He can give a really good perspective of actually growing into being a very productive basketball player. So I'm excited about that. I'm going to keep my eye on that during the preseason, especially. I'm really excited to watch him on the 5th against the Thunder, I believe, if I'm correct. But
yeah,
very excited.
Before you go, TGK, Kyle Lowry was behind the second Aaron Brooks.
Aaron Brooks from Oregon?
Yep, the second Aaron Brooks. I remember
that Aaron Brooks, yes.
Man.
Oh, you TGK.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, well, for me with Josh Green, the thing is you always want wing defenders that can hit threes, right? And so the potential with Green is the fact that he could pass and make plays. just being out there, right? So the fact that he's starting to find that confidence and playing it, I mean, watching him in that what was it, that practice yesterday, and even today, you just saw he's bringing that confidence out. But that's the thing. I think I'm looking at it as replacing Jalen Brunson's production, right? And if you have someone that's taller than Brunson, someone that can rebound more than Brunson and defend, and then if they can finally put everything together as far as passing and then giving you at least 10 to 12 points potentially, right? Then you replace that even with a better defender. So that's why, to me, like, I'm rooting for him like hell, because I know there's a lot of slack that we get for not picking Desmond Bain over Josh Green. So
he'll never let you forget it.
yeah, him too. So it's that if he could really find his own role and excel at it with Luka, and you just never know. And then to me, like, whenever on the white team, it was Josh Green and Luka on the backcourt. So you never know, that might be something down the line if he could just keep developing. I'm excited for him and see what he does.
King already know. He been talking to me about that, man. He think that's gonna be the backcourt right there.
I told you that's the backcourt of the future. Josh Green and Luka Doncic, I believe. So let me throw a few things out to you. Roddy Beaubois, Dennis Smith Jr. Those guys are guys that got, I guess, stunted by Rick Carlisle. We know how the past regime was with him. So Josh Green's rookie year was really last year, as I think a lot of people were saying. And I don't hold him accountable for even the playoff failure, because Jalen Brunson, the year before, I told everybody to chill back and fall back. That was his first playoff experience. He was hurt. Let him come back and prove himself as well. And it seems like a lot of Mavericks players are hungry like that. They feel like once they fail, and that probably comes from Luka, J-Kidd, stuff like that they need to go ahead, go in the lab and succeed. Also, J-Kidd. We talk about J-Kidd and we preached about J-Kidd. I believed in him. I believe his development, what he would do. He believed in Josh Green, the guys he have on the team. And to piggyback on TGK point lastly, about having that second guy to replace Jalen Brunson, I think the Mavericks are just going to play a little different this year. I think they're going to play a little more inside, outside. We're going to shoot threes still, but I think we're going to try to get inside a little bit even more to get easy buckets, kind of like the Lakers did back in 2020, with better shooters around them as well. So I think they're going to play a little bit like that. And between the Jalen Brunson numbers, I think they're going to get that by committee from guys. So Josh Green a little bit on defense. You got Spencer Dinwiddie starting. You're going to get Jaden Hardy off the bench, giving a little bit of points. Like, they're going to have guys kind of fill that role as a group, kind of. So,
well, even just on points, you got Christian Wood. That's
Christian Wood as well. We didn't even talk about.
They definitely didn't have. Yeah.
Yep. So I think it's going to be, after seeing the fan jam and the practice, I'm not going to lie to you, and hearing Coach Kidd's philosophy and what him and Nico and other guys have been preaching about how they're going to go with the team, I'm actually excited again. Like, I was getting a little bit, I guess, dampered or saddened about them not replacing the third ball handler, moving Spencer Dinwiddie into the starting lineup. I really feel like Spencer Dinwiddie is better off the bench because of his ability to play kind of like Luka Doncic. He's that secondary guy when Luka needs a break to spell him. So I'm telling you, I think Josh Green, if he can keep developing, if he can stay with a little bit of a handle, I already think he's the second best passer on the team. He's probably third or fourth best defender on the team, probably the second best perimeter defender on the team. So even talking about a Desmond Bain and a Sadiq Bey, I told you last year, I think, truthfully, Josh Green may have more skills than both of those guys. And it's just about him being unlocked, and that we may not even know it yet. So I'm excited for Josh Green. I think Josh Green can be an all-around great player. If he, like, a defensive mindset, like maybe a Dorian Finney-Smith 2.0, that's more athletic, because he has to be probably the most athletic guy on the team as well. So I'm excited. That's basically what it comes down to, a simple point. I've been saying the Josh Green train, choo-choo, for the longest time, and it is what it is, man. Like, it's time. Let's go, Josh.
No, I've been dealing with this for so long, man.
So smart,
ever since we started this show, man, he's been on the Josh Green train. No, I agree with everything y'all said, man. Listen, I was at the fan jam, and the energy that he brought, man, during the fan jam, it was just like, it's different. You know what I mean? Like you said, he just oozes confidence. And you can tell that they're going to try to use him in a different way that they used him, in previous years. Like I said, especially with Rick Carlisle. Rick Carlisle just didn't know what to do with him. And it's just like, now, man, I think with the way, from what I seen from the fan jam and from what I seen in the practice that we saw yesterday, this team might be a little bit better offensively than they were last year. I know on paper it looks like that, but just seeing it, the way that they're moving out there, the practices and all that stuff, the fan jam, It's just like this team has the potential to be a lot better offensively. You know, you got Tim back. Of course, now you got Christian Wood. And I'm going to tell you right now, from what I've seen from Christian Wood, I think he could do a little bit more, too, than what we kind of expect him to do.
Yep.
Like, the dude can put the ball on the floor and go get his own bucket to the point. I know we talked about it before, King, but it's like, just seeing it is different. Like, he's bringing the ball up.
He's good at it.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
it's just so, like I said, this team might be a whole lot different from what we expected. Like, I think we all thought, like, maybe, you know, I mean, I don't know where y'all have them placed in the West, but, like, you know, I know a lot of people saying probably like 4 or 5 or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if this team was competing with maybe top 3.
What you said? How many wins?
Competing with top 3.
Oh, okay.
Maybe competing. I'm just saying, like, from what I've seen, I'm convinced. I don't know about how y'all feel about them, but yeah, I'm convinced.
On paper, if I was to be real, on paper, the Mavericks, talent-wise, are probably not up there with a lot of the teams in the West. We're probably fighting for a regular playoff spot, so we're probably around 6, 7. But
You think
if
that
you
low?
look at where we were, if we're looking at where we were last year at the beginning of the season,
okay,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
at the beginning of last year, we weren't looking like a Western Conference Finals type team, right?
We were looking like a playoff team for a while last year.
Yeah,
We were second from the bottom at one point, right?
Yeah.
yeah, exactly,
16, 18,
exactly. So that's one of the things I have to tell myself when I'm, because I was like you, King. I wasn't. My excitement level kind of dampened a little bit going into the season. I always got to constantly remind ourselves this game's not played on paper, right? There's going to be things that we're going to be able to do. There might be, trades that we're able to make that can probably boost the team. Who knows? So it's a very long season. Like last year felt very long. When it was all said and done, it was like, man, like I felt like that season took 2 years.
Yeah.
But a lot can change. Even if nothing roster-wise changes, there stuff can still change along with how we play and stuff like that. So I'm not really tripping about what we have on paper. I know there's other facets of this game that if we can get a control on, that can help us a lot more than other teams in the West. So, and of course, we got one of the top 3 players in the league. So
that's what I was going to throw in there to you as well, Andy. Like I think we discredit Luka a lot as far as like his development every year. So just think about last year what we had of Luka. If he still takes another step like he does every year, imagine that. Like this year as well with the team we have around him. I really think we have a good team on paper. And you want to know one of the main reasons why the rest of the league didn't really do anything. It feels like the Kevin Durant
Clippers bring a lot back though with Kawhi.
Clippers bring a lot back.
Clippers
Bring back Zion.
The Clippers is always health. I'm telling you, every year we're going to talk about that same thing. At some point, we're going to say the Clippers are what they are. Like we can't keep saying they're going to this next year. Like something's probably going to happen this year as well. So until they show me they are who they are. Denver, I'm not as high on Denver as a lot of folks are. I think Denver has reached their max. Like I think they gave all these guys max contracts, and they shouldn't have gave all those guys that because I think they're stuck at a point where not mediocre, but like maybe a Western Conference Finals is their max. Like I don't see them as being a championship level team. And then like the Pelicans are going to be awesome on offense. I'm still not there with them yet as far as being a defensive juggernaut to win games in the playoffs. So with all that being said, the Mavs already having the experience they have with the team of having like a Reggie Bullock and a Dodo. Like we have Reggie, Dodo, Maxi Kleber, and JaVale McGee on this team with a sprinkle of Josh Green now as a defensive team. Like this team is awesome.
And we still got Frank. We can't
Frank.
Forget about Frank after what he did.
Who did big on Devin Booker. Who killed Devin Booker. So like I really think I really see on the best case scenario, the Mavericks can have a top 5 offense and defense this year. And I know they're probably like, man, you're biased because you're a homer and all. I'm telling you, with the addition of JaVale McGee and all, I think that the rim protection will be even better. We were at a 7th defense last year with a shaky start as well. So if we get better on that side, which I think we will do, I think Luka is going to make the offense could possibly flirt with being the best offense of all time again. We had that 3 years ago with Luka Doncic. Like they gave Luka better weapons at what he needs as far as what complements him. So I'm going 60 wins. I told y'all 52 last year with 16 and 18. They should win 60 this year. That's my opinion. As long as they start high.
Right.
I think the thing that gives me some hesitation with like the idea of them being in the running of that top 3 is they really have a trend of starting slow each year. And in years where they weren't good, like really bottom of the barrel, like you're digging yourself so big of a hole right out of the gate that you have no chance of really climbing back into it. Now, last year, we said it earlier, they started 16-18 and turned it around, and then their pace the rest of the way was phenomenal, and that would have put them in that had they not spent like a month or so of the season just trying to kind of get something going. And I understand there were some mitigating circumstances there with health and safety protocols, but it is something where it seems like if you look over like the last 10 years, they always seem to start a bit slow. And I think that might be enough to keep them where it is more in that kind of 4 to even 6 range, just because of some of those, that early traction trying to get it. They're probably going to tweak a little bit of the offensive system a little bit. Again, you've kind of seen now in year 2 of Jason Kidd, the identity of this team kind of changed. They finally are making like substantial roster change between seasons, unlike just running the same crew back by and large like we were doing the last several years. And so I think there is going to be a little bit of a change there that they're going to have to work through. And it might take a little bit of time. It won't look as bad as it obviously did the start of last season. Offensively, the first week or so was brutal. It's not going to be like that. But I do think the change, whether it be personnel or even just a little bit of just because of that personnel, what the attack looks like, might have a little bit to contribute to just enough of a slow start that it makes it tough to kind of climb into that 2-3 category as far as rankings are concerned. But I definitely think it's a talented team, and I think it is the Luka Doncic factor, that generational factor that can help you overcome, even if on paper you're not the most talented team, that can help you overcome an awful lot. And you get into a 7-game series. If you got a guy like that on your team, that's going to go a long, long way, even if you're not the best team. I mean, last year they didn't have, even with not having like a true defensive interior, they were able to make these moves that allowed them to overcome conventional play. Like, okay, we're going to get killed in the paint. We're going to really struggle on rebounds, but we're going to put extra effort and focus here and here, and that's going to help us overcome it. I believe in the coaching staff, and I believe in where they're headed. I just think it might start slow. That's my take.
Yeah, I like how you.
Let me just say something real quick. So y'all remember last year going into the season, how we constantly heard Jason Kidd constantly putting emphasis on defense. We're going to work on defense. We're going to work on defense. And our mind frame was, look, we've been hearing that for years. I've been saying he's going to work on defense, and it never changed. But he said that, and then they put an emphasis on defense. Right now, going into the season, I've heard multiple players and coaching staff say they're going to put an emphasis on getting out the gate quicker. No more slow starts. We're going to try to work on that. So I'm going to kind of hang my hat on that a little bit, and hopefully, like the same way that they changed up their, the philosophy on we're going to focus on defense, and they did it. I'm going to hope that they're going to do the same thing with this, with them starting, getting a better start, not this 16-18 stuff. Because like you're right, DDP. They come out the gate slow. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that Luka was coming into the season out of shape. He's in the best shape that he's been in God knows how long. Since the bubble. Yes, you know what I mean? And so now he's coming into the season in shape. And I think that's going to play a bigger part in them getting out the gate, with a better record than they had in the past.
Their first 10 games, go at TGK, but their first 10 games will decide it if you haven't checked it out.
That's going to be the test.
You're going to see already how the Mavericks going to start their first 10 games.
Yeah, no, I like the team's mentality going into the season already. Like, they're all talking about, all right, how do we improve from last year? And how they improve is either getting further in the West or getting to the finals. But to DDP's point where he said, you have a generational talent, one of my key phrases I love to say about Luka is that he is the greatest equalizer. You can have a team that is just stacked with LeBron, AD, and, whoever else, right? Or the Clippers or the Bucks, for example. Luka's that one player that just makes up for 2-3 players on the opposing team, because he is just one of those generational talents, man. And for me, like personally, like I'm just so excited going into the season. If we get 50 wins, because the West is stacked, 50 wins should be a pretty successful regular season, because it is a very stacked West. But regardless of whatever position we end up, whether it's first, sixth, I don't see eighth. But between 1 and 6, at the end of the day, Luka is still going to be the greatest equalizer right now in the NBA, and that could take you so far anywhere in the playoffs.
I agree.
Yeah, I think the exciting thing about this roster is, it's not the sexiest when you look at it on paper, but I think we have a lot of versatility, both on offense and defense, to mix and match and just throw things at people that they're going to either not be able to guard, or they're going to have to adjust the things that they maybe want to do to guard it. We can go out there with Christian Wood and Javal at the same time. We can go out there with Christian Wood and Maxey, like have all shooters on the court. We have, like you said, Frank, Josh, Bullock, Dorian Finney-Smith, who can harass guards and can guard up a little bit on wings and stuff like that. So trying to run us off the screens, you're going to struggle to find an advantage. So I think, just the chaos that we can create with the roster versatility is what's really going to make this team better than people are putting us 8th, 9th and stuff like that. That's absurd to me. I'd be surprised if we're anywhere near a play-in at the end of the season. It's 4 or 5 for me is where I'm still at mentally.
I'm going 1. I'm going 1. That's all I was.
At worst, 4 or 5.
I'm telling you, the Mavericks got the best record.
I think ESPN had us at 9.
I'm gonna
ESPN
around 4.
had us
They nowhere near 9.
Bro,
ESPN had the Suns at 2. I'm like, come on now.
Bro,
Exactly.
you know how I go, bro. I'm telling you, Kingster Dumb is here. Run. I'm telling you, the Suns. I'm telling you, the league didn't move. The league did not move.
I'm gonna have to
That's
get
the best thing for Kevin Durant.
for you.
Kevin Durant saved us. Thank you, Kevin Durant. The league did not move right now. So
I don't think it was his choice so much.
Yeah, I mean,
let him tell it. He swear it was like, we agreed on
the
it.
Sun. I'm not worried about the Suns.
You, sir.
Like I really, especially if we beat them the first game of the season. Like I hope we finally beat them the first game of the season. But I'm not worried about the Suns.
That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be a fun game.
We just ended 2 franchises over the playoff break. I don't think Golden State got better, and they're getting older. The Clippers are the team you got to supposedly worry about and get there. We took them 7 with a KP dropping 13. I'm sorry, street clothes dropping 13 a game.
Watch your language, sir.
I think Christian Wood would do more against the Clippers than Street Clothes did. So I'm putting the team together. Last year we talked about Street Clothes almost making the All-Star game. Like it was an argument because AD wasn't there as far as where's the other power forward that could he possibly get in there? Why can't Christian Wood get in there? Like I think we're selling this team a little too low. I'm not sure. I've seen Jamal what's the guy for Denver? Why can't I think his name right now?
Jamal
Murray, golly, put up 50 in on the playoffs, but regular season just be
the bubble was a weird
Jamal
time.
Murray. There's no. I've never seen Jamal Murray be that guy outside of that year or that bubble. So it's not like. And then Michael Porter Jr. has to come back from back injury that's been bothering him forever, and be that guy supposedly like they're not that team. That
I'm not worried about Denver.
And Murray was playing poorly before the injury. I think people.
Exactly. I was just about to say that, Bibs. You're
Gordon,
right. He did.
Gordon isn't stepping up and being anything really. Like
you get your 15.
Do we expect the Lakers to be number 1 again? No. So why are we pushing the Mavericks down so low? Like Minnesota, is Rudy Gobert really making y'all say Minnesota's that team?
What? Okay, so what teams? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Just real quick. I think there's still that incorrect perception that the Mavericks just don't have any talent. But when you really look at it, like if you thought about it, they're probably 10 deep. Yeah. When you look at the talent, it's just a misperception.
They had 4. They had 4, and if this year Jaden Hardy becomes a scorer like I think he is, maybe 5 guys that can drop 30 in a game. The Mavericks have. There's only like the Clippers and all their other teams that have that, but nobody's realizing it.
Clippers are hella deep after that trade that they made last year.
Yeah,
they really positioned themselves well for this year.
Tim Hardaway Jr. can still get you 30.
Yeah. I'm also in belief too. One of the things that's really good about Tim Hardaway, I said this earlier on Twitter, is back I guess a couple years ago he was probably your third guy because we still haven't discovered Brunson yet. Yep. Now we're in a position to where we have a guy like Tim Hardaway Jr. and he's probably 4th, maybe the 5th best, most reliable guy on the Mavericks team now. Yep. Now that we have a more improved Dorian Finney-Smith, a very useful Reggie Bullock now, because I'm gonna rely on Reggie Bullock shooting threes more as of right now more than I rely on Tim Hardaway Jr. because I need to see him in his maker's return. But to have a guy like THJ come back and be able to be the 4th guy on your team, that's really good.
Maybe 5th.
And I said that too. Yeah. I said with the addition of guys like Christian Wood and then Tim Hardaway, now people are going to be slid down now to their proper order in the pecking order now. Like, you're not going to be expecting Maxey to go out there and get you 12 points now. Sprinkle in your couple of threes here, your timely buckets that we need now. We don't need you to be the guy. You be a guy now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a good point. I've been saying that. So yeah.
Now I had to ask Bibs because Bibs had a really good breakdown after that NBA TV practice where he had stock ups and stock downs for people.
Oh yeah.
Were you able to watch the fan jam?
I watched like the first quarter or so. I went to a movie after that.
What movie did you watch?
Nigga, I've seen enough.
I went to see Smile.
Oh yeah, I'm
Hey, is that good? Is that good?
Yo, don't get me get my critic hat on, but it was entertaining, is what I'll say. It was entertaining. There was some stuff that bothered me as a film aficionado, if you will. There's been some better movies recently, but it was entertaining. It did what it was supposed to do.
Cool.
Okay.
But okay, so of that quarter that you watched of the fan jam, let's go back to Mavs. We had a little smile. See, we do everything here on this special We Talk Mavs.
We talk smile.
We talk smile. Anyway, did any of those stocks change? I know we only had basically two sample sizes.
So I'm trying to remember the tweet off the dome. I think I had Josh Green at the top. I think he had 2 up.
Yeah.
I think, from what I saw, Josh Green this is a nice year for him. Like the sugar glider tweets are gonna be going crazy on my timeline. Until the name catches on. Till I get Skin Wade to say it on the broadcast.
I can tell you, I won't forget it already.
That's an awesome name.
It's such a unique name that it's already like burned in my brain.
Short. The sugar.
Oh yeah,
Sugar Short.
The way he floats.
Yep, the way he flies is like a sugar glider.
That's
the way
right.
with his arm and all that one. I know exactly how it's catchy. It makes sense.
But yeah, Josh, in the time I saw, he was still doing his thing. Everybody's still talking crazy about him. They put him with the starting group. I don't know if that was intentional, if that was like, let's see what this looks like type of thing. But yeah, Josh still up. I think I had McKinley Wright was up. And I had a little contract paper beside him because I think he's probably the front runner for the
he's gonna be that second. Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
We haven't used that yet.
No,
I thought about that today. I said that to my bro. I said I think that we still got that open. So I think Bibs might be right.
Because the first one was Tyler
Dorsey.
Tyler Dorsey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Who else did I have on there? I know I had Wood.
I'm trying to find the tweet.
I had Wood with the 2 stock down. So that was more me recalibrating my expectations because I was up here on the Christian Wood thing, like All-Star 2010,
everybody was
Man of the Year, like all that. Like I was all in on it. And then I saw him kind of being lackadaisical in the practice. I was like, maybe I need to relax a little bit. I want to believe that Kid will get him the full buy-in like he did everybody else last year, but I just need to relax for now. And so I had to give him the 2 down. Who else did I have down? I think I have Frank with 1 down as well. The commitment to him as a ball handler.
Yeah, I gotta find that tweet too. I forgot who you had. You had 2 people with the stock down.
No, I think I remember right. I was trying to remember.
Okay,
but it all rings well in my head.
Yeah, there's one person I'm missing. I can't think of who it is that I had up. But yeah, I think Frank Ntilikina.
Probably Hardy.
Yeah, it was Hardy and Hardy.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, Frank, committing to him as the 3rd ball handler scares me. I think it was King. You mentioned you were kind of worried about not having that 3rd ball handler on the team coming into the season. I just wanted a veteran that I could depend on in that spot. They don't even have to play if Frank and Josh are doing their thing, but just somebody that is an emergency valve that we can throw in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's better than Courtney. Not Courtney Lee. What was his buddy named? Trey Burke. Better than Trey Burke. Frank is my guy. Like, as I've said, Frank is my guy. But again, committing to him in that 3rd spot scared me. During that practice, he was guarded by Dorian Finney-Smith and Bullock mostly. Whenever they put pressure on him, he was getting rid of the ball almost immediately.
Yeah.
You can't do if you're the primary ball handler on the court. Like, I need you to be able to break a guy down a little bit and feel comfortable with the ball in your hands. And then Hardy, like I said, I had him up. He was exciting. He looks like he's already meshing with the guys. Do I expect him to get real playing time early in the season? Probably not. But 37th pick, you can't ask for more than what I've seen from him. Like I don't need him to do anything right away. I just need to see that he's he's working and he has some ability, so that even in garbage time we can see little flashes, and he'll get it together as far as the game. He'll probably spend a lot of time in Frisco, but I was excited by what I saw personally.
Cool. Oh, go ahead, DDP.
I liked the point Enyi was making earlier about how just a couple years ago, we had Hardaway as kind of perceived the third best guy. Operationally, a lot of nights he had to play kind of like the second best guy because we were so inconsistent with what we got out of KP. So it really
DP. We don't even give the letters. Huh?
Street clothes. Okay, that makes me think NBA Street. So I'm just gonna say NBA Street. So NBA Street clothes. What we got functionally on that front, we're rolling with that now. So if Hardaway was your 3 operating like your 2, and now we're saying he's like your 4th or your best, that does obviously speak a lot to the growth of the roster and everything. And a lot of people said, even before this past year, like they didn't think Dallas, they thought they had like a lot of like okay pieces, not a lot of great depth. But then once you make that run to the West Finals, that perception kind of changes a little bit. People start talking about it differently because you're getting national attention. Guys that didn't get seen a lot. People are like, Dorian Finney-Smith, they might know a little bit about him, but not a lot. Guys like Maxey, especially earlier in the postseason, especially suddenly getting a lot more attention because they're doing stuff and they actually have the stage. So you have that. I feel like if you had managed to bring back Jalen, that totally changes the entire perception.
Oh, man.
Like everyone who says like right now, like, oh, the Mavericks, yeah, they didn't really get better. They're 6, 7. If they're having that conversation, if you just have that one move work different, I feel like on paper people are looking at this team like they are on that upper echelon as far as talent, like on paper how they're perceived in the Western Conference. Because the stock of Jalen stock just from like January to the end of the year just soared so high through the roof, like unbelievably through the roof. Like you think about like how quickly he went from a guy that was a perceived 6-man, yeah, he's a nice player, to like, here's $100+ million contract. Like
you're stupid for letting him go.
Ridiculous at that point. Well, you look at what the Knicks are paying for their big 3, and it is like the greatest mid 3 ever. So it's really something that they got to figure out. And like I would have loved to have him back. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to throw all the shade, only some of it. But shots. Yeah, I think the perception is just drastically different because of one move. And that's kind of a shame because the Christian Wood trade alone was so huge. Like that came out of nowhere. Yep. And the Mavericks were, I think I read they were actually looking at Hardy if they had been able to hold on to, what was it, like the 26 pick? 26 pick.
Yeah. A lot of research was done for absolutely no reason.
If they, you did like a 45
sorry about that, Andy, video. Good content, though. Good content.
Yeah. But they did all that, and they were looking at Hardy, I think, even at that pick. So not only do you still get your guy at 37, but you make that move to get potentially a guy who, if you can get him to buy in, I think is a legitimate 20-point-a-night guy and a 6-man contender. I mean, at that point, you're a favorite for 6-man if that's the case. But it's all key on that buy-in and him actually doing that, to Bibs' point. So I think they did make good moves, but they were early on. And because the Jalen thing went the way it did, the entire perception changed, and now people are overlooking you again. And that might actually work to your favor, really.
Yep.
I mean, we used to getting overlooked, so that's fine. Like I said before, just go ahead and slide under the radar. Keep doing what you're doing. Please do not come out the gate slow like you've been doing the last few years. Take care of business early. Like King said, I think the first 10 games are going to really tell us what this team is, or what direction they're going to head in. Because it's not going to be an easy schedule this year. And if y'all think about it, man, y'all look across the league. I think I told King this before. If you look across the league, even some of the bottom teams have gotten better. You know what I mean? Like, it's adding a lot of that young talent and stuff like that. So you're not going to really be just sleeping on anybody like that this year. It's going to be a lot of, okay, you got to come on with it this game. I mean, the team might not be better than you, but they can still have a chance to beat you. So you have to come with it every night now. You know what I mean?
And
like I said, with the West,
to me, Detroit is much-watch TV for me.
See, like Detroit, that's a prime example right there. Like, that team is not somebody you can just sleep on anymore.
Oklahoma got favors.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't understand that,
Great
man.
Pickup.
Even give
Great
a pick
pickup.
What? Like, man. I don't understand what that was for. But yeah, the Mavericks, I think, are they better than last year? Does everybody agree they're better than last year?
I think so. I think on paper they're better than last year.
Yeah.
When you can make Dwight Powell backup center, you got better.
That
So
will
he
certainly
Is the
help.
White Powder backup center though?
I think he
I hope-
backup.
Yeah, he's
I
like
think he is too.
backup. He's
Is he the
community.
cowboy?
Backup
Wood
of
the
a backup.
He's a
He's
cowboy that'll still
community
get you in the head and in the
There you
nuts.
As
go.
long as he ain't starting, that
He
was
needs
it.
to
That
be
was
the
his
human
biggest
victory
gripe.
cigar.
He said what? Say that
He's
again?
community
There you go.
liaison. That's what he is. So
Yeah,
for
he's
right
community
now,
service
that's what he's going to
liaison. There
do
you
until
go.
the contract expires. Then they may give him a coaching job or so, maybe. I don't know what's going to happen, but he's probably the backup. JaVale McGee. I'm really interested in Christian Wood though, because I really think I've heard. I think BJ Armstrong on his podcast that he does was talking about Christian Wood, and he said that Jason Kidd kind of gave him the most respect that he could ever give him, but he doesn't understand it because by having him play on the bench, that third ball handling role is more of Christian Wood's. Like that's what BJ Armstrong is saying. Like at that position when Spencer and Luka isn't in the game, J Kidd is going to ask Christian Wood to be Christian Wood at those moments. Like just take the ball and just go dominate and do what you can do. So like we said earlier, if he can, get into the mindset and J Kidd can actually talk to him and get him to believe that, you could be a starter in the future. Let's get you to next year. Let's get you on a winning team and let's show everybody that your name and what you can do this year. I mean, I think it could be something special. It's Jason Kidd, really. J Kidd and the coaching staff is just huge. And I believe in them, so I believe in the Mavs.
Hey, at the end of the fan jam, Christian Wood was trying to win that game. I don't know if everyone got to see the end of it, but he was amped. He was going at Luka or whenever Luka was just trying to shoot everything over him. It seemed like he was trying to take that personal and get that dub. So just to see that fire in a fan jam game, I hope it should bode well for the season though.
Yeah, like I said, he was handling the rock a little bit too, man. Like bringing the ball up. You know what I'm saying?
He was doing that in
That's
Houston.
why I was like, he
He's
was
doing a lot in Houston. I have all the faith. And a lot of people who compare his role to what Street Clothes was back in the gap when he was here. It's apples and oranges. I think he can fit way better than Street Clothes. I'm gonna forget to say. I'm gonna speak blasphemy here on accident.
Just say NBA Street Clothes.
NBA Street Clothes, gotcha.
NBA
All right,
Street
but
Clothes,
yeah, no,
to
I
use
think
that.
he's a lot more physical. He's a better shooter. KP, although he's known
See,
for
you
shooting.
just did it 5 seconds later.
Trust me, it's gonna take you a while.
He does it all the time.
Enyi, I've known this for 2 minutes. Come on, man.
And he told you. Hold up. And he told you.
I told you. Yeah. Anyway, but no, I mean, Christian Wood, his role, yes, it will be similar to what Street Clothes was, but he'll be able to handle it a lot better than Street Clothes was able to do. I feel like he's able to take advantage of more mismatches than Latvian Street Clothes person was able to do. Because if we were handing the ball, as much as I was cheering for him, as much as I was pulling for Street Clothes, we handed him the ball in the post. It was not a given, even with a point guard on him. It was not a given that we were going to get the 2 points. It was not a given that he was going to be able to take 2 dribbles and turn around without losing the ball. It was not a given. As much as I was pulling for him, as much as I was believing in him and telling with my telekinesis powers, give him the ball, let him gain the confidence, it just wasn't happening, if I can be real about it.
Yeah.
Christian Wood probably is not backing down people, but I think he can take people off the dribble. If we dare put a small person on him, he's going to take way more advantage of it. Hell, if you put Street Clothes on him, as we saw last year when Street Clothes was in Washington, he boomed right on him, and we already see KP get boomed on by James Wiseman already. So yeah, exactly. So I think I'm really excited about the prospects of having Christian Wood on this team. I've heard someone saying that he's one of the leading people for 6th man of the year. That would be cool. If he can move up to the starting, I'm all for it. I'm actually a proponent of having him in the starting lineup so he can help out Luka with a lot of the offensive duties, because with the starting lineup we have, it's almost like Luka is still going to be shouldering 98% of the offensive duties for the starting position, which Luka is good enough to do that at an efficient manner and still get the most out of all the other 4 around him. But if we run into a team who's going to do the box and one like the Warriors did to us last year, who's going to be that person that can take pressure off Luka?
Yeah.
Hopefully Spencer on year 2 out of from recovery can also help out with that too. But I'm of the belief that Christian was the second best player on this team. I'm just going to wrap up.
Yes.
In the case of Street Clothes, The tide turned at the dawn of the season, and he just couldn't gain it back. Is there any other detergent brands I can work into this to try and make this pun work? Probably not. I've probably already gone too far. But yeah, no, I think Wood, totally different player. Definitely, I think makes you better suited in those kind of scenarios. I don't know if you can get that buy-in. If you do, it's so much higher this team's ceiling. But you're going to have to see if he can do that. Where do you guys fall on? Because this is a question, as we mentioned earlier, that I still see all the time in the chats. Where do you fall on the conversation of him starting versus JaVale?
King, take it away. We talked about this before. Go ahead.
So I wanted Christian Wood to start, but I'm understanding and knowing JaVale McGee's career. I know he has asthma pretty bad, so he plays in spurts. That's why he plays the way he does efficiently in spurts. So I think it's just a guarantee to get him over here to help that J Kid told him. I don't think he's going to play a bunch of minutes. He's basically the new Dwight Powell. He's going to be Dwight Powell, just better in Dwight Powell minutes, I believe. I think the last time J Kid won a championship was 2020. And he was with the LA Lakers. I think they're going to play like Anthony Davis and LeBron James between Luka and Christian Wood. They're going to try to run that whole little thing. They got a Spencer Dinwiddie playing the Rajon Rondo role. And I think that's the way they're really trying to present this. I think the reason Frank Vogel was in the house is because the Lakers wanted J.K. to be their coach before, but didn't want to go in the heat and actually hire him when they had the chance to. So they hired Frank Vogel to actually they hoped he would actually fail so Jason Kidd could take the spot. But J.K. got another spot or another team or whatever with the Mavs, got his chance to come over here, and Frank Vogel ended up getting fired. So I think it's the same system he's basically trying to run. So I do think I'm very high on his team, with nobody making moves at all. I'm telling you, I really believe Lucas should put up about 30 and 10. I think Christian Wood can play with 20 and 10. Maybe not the 10 rebounds because they're going to play around. Lucas going to still want to get his rebounds. JaVale's going to get some rebounds. So maybe about 9, 8 for his rebounds, but I think he can get 20. I think Spencer Dinwiddie can flirt with 17 to 18. I think we can have if Tim Hardaway Jr. got 14 points a game this year, it wouldn't matter. If he got 12 points every game and we were just sitting there and then he sprinkled on a 30-point every now and then, it wouldn't even matter. We got Jaden Hardy who can come do a little something. We got Josh Green who gets to prove a little something. And that's not even saying the games where Dodo's going to get hot and get 20 points off of 7 threes. Maxi Kleber is going to get hot and get 7 threes. Reggie's going to get hot and give you 7 threes. Like when they choose who's going to be hot between those guys, I think we have, like I think TGK said it a little bit earlier, we have 10 deep at least, like that can play. In the playoffs last year, we had 8 deep that could really play, and then we tried to go around and sprinkle guys that could shouldn't be on the floor as much. I think this year we may have 10 deep that can play in the playoffs this year. So I'm really happy. I don't think nobody's gotten better, really. I think the league is, like we said, getting even closer. So I really think, I don't know if the East is better than the West now. I don't know if the West is better than the East. I think teams are so close, so it should be a fun year. But we have the equalizer, like TGK says. And I'm never betting against that guy. When you got a guy like Luka Doncic, a young LeBron James and all, you never bet against them. They're always going to make your team overachieve. So I'm going for the number 1 seed. And back to going with yours, DDP, I'm sorry. Christian Wood, he doesn't have to start. It's up to J Kid now. J Kid just got to get him the mindset of saying, hey, we can get you an all-star game. You want to be in the future for all NBAs. You want to get paid this year. Show him what he did for Jalen Brunson. Show him Josh Green, the example of what's going on with him. Frank Ntilikina. Like, there's so many examples that J.K. can show to him and say, just listen to me, man. We got this. We can win something that you can be special. And tell him he can be better than street clothes. Like, really. Tell him we had something prepared for street clothes. You can be better than what street clothes was, and he'll probably buy into it. And like you said at the fan jam, he was out there actually running, trying to play defense and all. It's all about effort. You get Christian Wood to play effort or use his effort and use his abilities, he'll be nice. You get Josh Green to use his effort and his abilities, he'll be nice. We see all the talent there.
Yeah, for me with Christian Wood starting, I mean, when you think of it, what lineup do you want to close games, right? You want a 5-out lineup, and we saw a couple of threes shot by McGee, but I don't think he helps you formulate.
I'm about to ask y'all, how do y'all feel about that? Y'all want to see McGee shoot 2 threes a game?
He did it before too. Like, he shoots them when he's wide open and all, and breaks them or makes them. Like, he'll shoot like 1 every 3 games probably.
But Christian Wood is
if we're
going to
up
help you make that 5
or
out.
down by a lot, I don't mind him shooting threes.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, we dealt with Boban doing that, and Boban was not shooting during close games. So
go ahead, TGK. I'm sorry.
No, for me, Christian would be my 5, so you can have that true 5-out offense. Because when you have, say, Luka, I mean, if I'm thinking of the top 5 players, you want to have every player that can shoot a 3. So you're naturally going to want Tim Hardaway at the 2. Then you got Bullock and Dodo, and then you got Christian Wood at the 5. So that's your 5-out offense. No one's going to double. It's going to be hard to. And
so
Luka
Spencer's not going to be in your
Yeah.
closing lineup.
It's hard.
I mean,
that close.
I mean,
probably
that's gonna be the
probably
question.
game specific. If
That closing lineup.
if you're having a Tim Hardaway, one of those Tim Hardaway games when he's just super ignorant but still like J.R. Smith like putting up buckets for
for me, I just want the best shooters out there that could give you the best results.
I think from our 3 to 5 though, TGK, I think all 3 of those guys, none of those guys are guaranteed to finish. Even that's even Dodo. No disrespect. Like it depends on who's hot at the time. If Dodo's just giving you defense and you need offense, then you may run with a Spencer Dinwiddie, Maxi Kleber, and a Christian Wood. It just really depends. Like I don't know. Really sitting and look. J Kidd has a lot to do with this team as far as talking to them and getting them to believe that what he does is going to work, because he's going to do a whole bunch of, like I said, just going back and forth. I feel like.
Yeah, I'll answer that Christian Wood question. I'm fine with him coming off the bench. I think I kind of compare it to the Clippers with Zubac, where they start him, but he's not in any closing lineups. He starts the first half, he starts the second half. It's kind of a tone setting thing. When you go with the 5 smalls to start the game, you give the other team opportunities to attack the paint, get a rhythm going and stuff like that. I don't know why my camera's tripping. You start with JaVale McGee, Vika Zubac in there. You know, teams have to think about going to the paint and, you know, start shooting from the outside. Maybe they don't start hot, things like that. You're kind of setting a tone with the physicality by starting that bigger guy. And then Christian Wood's still going to get his 30 minutes. You're just going to sprinkle him in where it's more effective. He's getting to play backups, stuff like that. So, I'm 100% with it. I think it's the only thing that makes it tricky is Christian Wood's attitude, and you got to get that buy-in of him not looking at it as a demotion and more looking at it as, you know, this is what's best for the team. Like, you're still going to get yours. You don't need that title of being a starter. So,
you're right, Bibs, because that's what Jason Terry used to do, remember? Jason Terry wasn't a starter, he was getting starter minutes. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, a lot of people are known for being that 6-man, Manager Ginobili, Jason Terry, Lou Williams, stuff like that.
For a minute, you had James Harden doing that with the Thunder and getting those not like extended starter minutes, essentially, but still getting to take advantage of those opportunities where, I forget who said it earlier, but where it's like if he's running with the starting unit, he's going to be like the third option or potentially, or maybe a second option in this case. But when he's coming off the bench, suddenly he's the focal point essentially of a lot of what's going on, and he's getting to do it against second units. So it's like an even greater advantage for him to take it to take advantage of. And the postseason run really showed the weakness of rim protection for Dallas right around the point, around the paint, and having JaVale, even with his minutes being kind of broken up with more spurts, that does give you that anchor. And you allow the best of Christian Wood's offensive game and the mismatches and the chaos he can wreak on the other team to shine through while still getting a little bit more solid and traditional of a unit, essentially, with JaVale in the starting lineup. I like that a lot because in that postseason run, they kind of had to play that risky game where it's like, okay, we know we're going to get killed on the glass. We know we're going to get killed in a lot of cases, points in the paint. We're going to have to figure out how to cobble together this strategy to work around that and to just fly to the ball like crazy, to work around that and to overcome it. Now you're not going to have to do that. You're not going to have to, bend over backwards to come up with these complex plans to try to make up for it. You can actually just do the idyllic thing and still allow Wood to do it. But it all comes down, like Bib said, to his buy-in. His buy-in is everything for this team's ceiling, I think.
It's kind of like what you just said, DDP. I've been saying this. Now that you have a guy back there now that's an eraser, your perimeter defenders can be a little bit more aggressive on defense on the perimeters now. Because now that you have a guy back there, because like you said, this past season, we were doing a lot of scrambling defense. So guys had to kind of overcompensate a little bit. Now that you have a guy, it's a little bit not easier, but then you can kind of play a little bit more to your strengths, which is being a perimeter defender in the Dodos and the Reggies and the Josh Greens and all those guys. So yeah, I agree, man.
Take more risks too.
Yeah, there you go. I was just about to say that too. Take a whole lot more risk now.
Do we have to play Bertans this year to try to trade him?
Oh, I forgot about Bertans.
Yeah, I know everybody's forgetting about him. He's just sitting there like making $16 million.
That's 2 more years.
Oh, hold on.
2 more years.
Okay. Let me ask this.
Probably do have to play him a bit if you want to move him.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Bibs, how do you feel about him on your up and down list there? Bertans. I was trying to think. I was like, I'm watching them today, and I'm just like, okay,
Bertans is Bertans. I don't feel the need to rank him. I don't feel the need to give him a role.
Look, if Bertans can be what he was his first year of Washington, championship.
Everybody, absolutely. San Antonio and Washington.
That crossover airball special was amazing.
Goddamn, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw it. I was like, I think he was so surprised he was wide open when he made a guy
He was
fall.
concerned for his teammate that just fell down.
I guess so.
Oh man, you good?
He makes them in practice though. Still, like I saw him making them at the game today, and he makes tough shots, sidestep threes, and all that. It's just in the games, it's like he rushes it, and I don't know what happened now. Like his confidence is like he has to rush shots and he misses them. So I don't know.
Thinking about it, it's probably 100% mental.
Yep.
And maybe having to step back and not having a defined role could help. It could also hurt because then he's gonna, when he gets his opportunity, he's gonna be like, all right, I gotta show him that I can still hit these shots, and maybe he's just flinging whatever. So
pressing and all this.
Maybe if we release another strain of COVID, we can get another NBA bubble going on.
He'd probably be a beast.
You probably would have been.
Not another strand.
If we had TJ Warren going on, and we have the Latvian later, hey, pull up from half court.
Yes,
I do not endorse
nobody even
this,
watching the game.
this idea.
I'm say, shout out to TJ Warren. I forgot about TJ.
I was really wanting TJ Warren, see if he can get a third of that.
You tweeted that too, and I was like, I don't know about TJ Warren.
He's in Brooklyn, right? You went with Brooklyn.
He signed with Brooklyn.
Yeah, he went to Brooklyn. Yeah.
I think they said he's gonna miss. Did they say he was going to miss like
75% of the games? Probably.
Yeah.
He fits in really well with Brooklyn in that case.
Yeah, exactly.
Bubble Jordan. That's what we call him.
That was fascinating.
Let me ask y'all a question, man. I'm going to give y'all an over and under on the record, but then y'all can tell me over or under, but then kind of give me a number. Just kind of give me a broad number what y'all think the record's going to be. Over, under, 45 wins. Like, where do y'all? Everybody got up.
We're getting at least 50 this year. I don't think that's going to.
I say 50.
I think Luka now is like we say on the show is like Dirk. He's going to flirt with 50, at least 50 every year now. Like he's just good enough where the team's going to do that. They went 16 and 18 and still got 52.
Yeah,
I think the Eurobasket thing really helped with Luka too because I think someone said that in the broadcast. I watched a little bit of it. But they said instead of like a 7-week break, he only had a 2-week. So he's kind of already in mid-season form.
Can't eat as much Whataburger in that downtime.
Nah.
I don't know how you gain 30 in 2 weeks, man. I've never seen that before.
I've done it. So
man.
You eat late at night, go straight to sleep on it. That's what happened.
It was Whataburger and hooker for him.
Yeah, but imagine Luka coming strong at the beginning of the season.
Exactly.
Real talk, Enyi. Last year, Luka should have been in the conversation really for MVP.
He really should. But people
he had a better record.
Luka perception early on that hurt him, I think.
How does your team supposedly have a bunch of scrubs, as they say, but you end with a better record than all the guys that are in the MVP conversation?
Yeah.
Yep.
Starting off slow with that slow handicap that you supposedly gave to them, and you still ended up above them. Aren't you the most valuable player? But that's another conversation.
The team had a losing record without you playing.
That's another conversation, but it is what it is.
The opposite of the John Morant.
Yep. Exactly.
So him and Shake, he should have it. I think it's
his. People have John Morant in front of Luka last year?
I don't think he was ahead of Luka. I just thought about like the perception of him and like his importance to the team.
At one point he was.
At one point
he was.
I didn't know if he finished ahead of him.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't finish ahead of him, but for a while there, people were talking crazy.
They were saying John Morant was better than Luka Doncic.
That's how you win Rookie of the Year and then Most Improved Player the next year.
He did win Most Improved.
Last year was his first year averaging over 20 points a game.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
disrespect to
Heritage
Ja. Again, like we said, no disrespect to Ja, but there's levels of this. Like,
What was their
And
record
he was
without
a
him?
worse defender than Luka as well.
like
25,
They had a very,
25,
I
or
don't
something
remember
like that.
exactly what it was, but it
24 or
was a
25.
very good
Yeah.
record.
It was like
Yeah.
25 and 5 or
I
something
mean,
like that. It was
yeah,
something
that's what I was
stupid.
thinking. It was like I was thinking like 24 and 4 or something.
Yeah, I think
like,
it was like 25.
ridiculous. Like, yeah, phenomenal player, no doubt. And if it's not for who is
Bane.
Salah
Brooks.
had to just have that stupid game where he just had to
stop
do
it.
it, win a couple games for us that we didn't need at the end of the year. Could have had Ja, but whatever.
Salah.
Yeah, Mesri, yeah. But it's like, yeah, Ja's a phenomenal player, no doubt. But it's weird how some people will elevate him, or at least his reputation seems to be a higher level than Luka, depending on like some places. Maybe now that's tempered with the
I'm glad you
West
said that,
one.
DDP, because me and
fighting
King
with
had this
Trey.
talk all the time. I'm glad y'all on. Let me ask y'all quick. I know TGK has touched on this before on this channel. What is y'all's opinion on the national media and their perspective of the Mavericks? Like, what's y'all's opinion on that? Because me and King talk about this like almost on every show. It seems like. Well, it's just like I don't know.
I mean, we already seen the disrespect of Giannis, right?
Yeah.
And
Oh
I think
my God.
a lot of the
That's
time, a
ridiculous.
lot of the times when your team is being led by a foreign player, I mean, it is what it is.
And White.
Luka, as good as Luka is, because look, we had Dirk. Everybody loved Dirk.
Yep.
However, no one really respected him like that.
Certainly not in the media. And 2011 changed that a bit, but yeah, before that,
I mean,
not at all.
we saw that with Darren Williams and stuff like that. He said one of the things that he said, along with Mark Cuban not showing up to the negotiation table, was if Dirk wasn't there, there was nobody else or whatever. So they traded for Joe Johnson, and he's like, "Oh, Joe Johnson, let me go over there." Oh, my homeboy left. Maybe Jay can come on. But yeah, this is going to be the same thing we're going to go through with Luka. A lot of the fan base in the NBA is black, so of course they're going to jive well with Ja. Of course they're going to jive well with Trey, because I heard a lot of people. I have a little cousin that stays with my parents. He's talking like Trey's better than Luka, and he's like, "You're young. I'm gonna let you believe what you want to believe."
That's cool.
Trey is good. Don't get me wrong,
it is.
but like King said, there's levels to this.
Hey man, if Hawks Fan TV is willing to admit that Luka is better than Trey, then your little cousin needs to get with the program.
Exactly.
Let me ask you this: who's the new guy this year? Remember, what was it? Last year was Ja Morant. 2 years ago, Trae Young is better than Luka. Playoffs, they started talking about Jason Tatum possibly being better than him. Who's the guy this year?
Devin Booker. Don't forget Devin Booker.
Yeah, they definitely talked about Booker.
Is it Zion this year? I actually think Zion's a dark horse MVP though, if he stays healthy.
If he stays healthy. He's played like 47 games. It feels like
he looks amazing.
Yeah, he does. He looks ridiculous.
It looks great.
He played 82 games.
Yeah, give him a full season.
And I think their offense will be awesome enough to get him like playoff level games. I think he has a chance to be MVP. I really do, because I think he can put up like 28 a game, almost 30.
He's got the built-in support as well.
Yeah.
That would help.
Yeah, I think
Luka
Zion
would probably be the elevator.
Yeah, I think Luka not being as accessible to the U.S. media it's the same thing like with Dirk and Giannis. They're not as accessible to the U.S. media because they're not. Luka still has some trouble with some English words in interviews and stuff like that. You can tell.
Say JaVale's name.
Joel.
Yeah, so. But I feel like when you watch a national broadcast of the Mavs games, we're an afterthought. Like you can tell that like they're coming there with their notes of things that they wrote down, because they weren't thinking about us any other time until they had to come broadcast this game. They're reading off weird stats from like the beginning of the year and stuff like that.
Did you know Maxey is a 3 and D big?
You can't play.
Maxey from the same hometown as Dirk Nowitzki.
You know how you can tell the media doesn't watch Mavs games? A lot of national media thinks the White Power is a great defender.
Yeah.
They always say that whenever the game's on national TV, the White Power and the White Power. And I'm like, huh? The White Power.
Such a great big man.
Yeah, great big man. He rolls to the rim, does what he wanted to do, and plays good defense. Like, huh?
Mute.
Okay.
Play like 10 minutes.
TGK, you need to unmute yourself.
TJ, we can't hear you. No, you were. I don't think your mic's connected. It shows you're unmuted, but we don't hear you.
You might have to change your settings like I did when I came in.
But no, I agree, man. Because it just kind of irks me. You would think that with Dallas being like the third or fourth biggest like metroplex in the country, you know, we get a little bit more eyeballs and people will know us a little bit more. And it's like I said, they come in with these cliff notes about this team.
Yeah.
And it'd be like, yeah, did you know that, you know, Nick Van Axel played for the Mavs? Like, what are you talking about? Like, why are you talking about that? Like, that's not important. Talk about the Mavs this year or whatever, you know.
Exactly.
And it's just, I don't know. It kind of irks me, man. Like, I guess now that y'all kind of put it like that, you know, I don't think Luka is going to be one of those players. And I think he's kind of one of those players that he's going to let the front office do their job. Mm-hmm. So I'm not gonna put my input on. We got to get somebody in here or whatever. Or get this certain player in here. I'm gonna let Nico and them do his job. So it's kind of the same thing with Dirk. Dirk was never one of those guys that like I'm gonna go out here and like kind of like Kobe and those other guys would do. Like I'm gonna go talk to this player and see if he want to come over here. Dirk was like, yo, I'm gonna let Donnie and them do their job, and then whatever happens. That
was his first mistake.
That's kind of yeah. I was gonna say that's
so I mean, no, you right though, Bibs. Do y'all think that Luka will ever get to that point? I think that he'll probably branch out a little bit and start kind of communicating.
He's getting there. He's getting there. It might take a little longer.
How many super teams got to be built
I think
first?
people will be a lot more open to Luka because he does things. He's not Dirk. Dirk's game isn't as palatable to the typical viewer than Luka's is. Everyone now, the step back. They know about the step back. They know about all the other things that Luka does. Dirk, it was just like he's a big man. You know, I'm only 5'8". I'm not gonna do big man things like Dirk is, but I can do step backs and shoot from distances. That's the stuff that I want to do. So Luka does have a chance to be, I guess, like Bib says, a little bit more accessible to the American viewer than Dirk.
I think,
and of course, we're more global now as a society anyway. So
they're
a lot more open.
These.
But
he has his own. You got them, bro?
Yes, sir.
Bro,
you better go back and watch our show. We did the last one. We did the
last one.
Oh, you did an unboxing. You did. You did
unboxing.
Yeah.
But no, I think that you can see Luka's been working on being more personable with guys. Like it was funny. Like at the All-Star game, they had him mic'd up. And he was like trying to talk to guys. He was like, DeRozan, you don't miss from the mid range, right? It's like he's trying to like branch out.
Yeah.
One thing I've noticed about him is in his Spanish language interviews, his personality is completely different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I wish the goal would be for him to be able to get that comfortable in the English interviews because he's a lot more hilarious. Like he's hilarious in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
And he says a lot more. He's able to say a lot more. He's able to communicate. And I don't think people, even Mavs fans, realize that there's a huge difference. I don't know if anybody here is bilingual or even partially bilingual, but when you're speaking in a language that isn't your first, second language, you have to think a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
And Luka's thinking a lot in those American interviews. But hanging out with Dorian Finney-Smith, picking up the slang, all that good stuff, hopefully a couple more years, he'll be good to go.
You can definitely tell when he's in a more comfortable setting, even with his English, he's a lot more open, but that's never going to be the case. Not I'm going to say never, but it's not the case now in traditional interviews and stuff like that. But when you see the clip of him sitting on the bench and he just all of a sudden yells out, "God damn!" You know what I mean?
Yeah. Dude, I almost brought that up, but I was like, I don't want to cuss on here because I don't know what their MO is.
You see, like when he's with the team, he is, very comfortable.
Yeah,
he's well liked around the league.
That.
You saw the clip of him during the rookie sophomore year, the USA World Game.
Mm-hmm.
His rookie year when he was like, "Look at me, I'm Fox," and everyone's laughing around. But he's a cool dude. I think people are receptible to him. The thing I'm hoping is in terms of you got it too, bro.
Y'all got the red ones. Okay,
yeah. That might as well be the official color since Luka likes the red shoes so much.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. Now you know what though, Enyi, what you just said though about it's gonna probably take him time. If y'all think about it, that's what Dirk did. It took Dirk a while to finally open up. Like now he's opening up. He's on all these interviews and stuff like that. So now hopefully it don't take him that long. We need you to be a little bit more, open a little bit sooner than that. But no, you're right though, man. I think you're right about that.
It's gonna be great for the league once he's able to open up to the English audience a little bit more. I mean, because imagine, your top three guys as of right now are Giannis, Jokic, and Luka. And
not Jokic. Come on, man. Jokic not top three. Come on. No, I like Jokic a lot.
Two-time
I like
MVP.
Jokic a lot, but I don't
As of
think
right
If
now,
you
we
ask the
have
media, you got Ja and
literally had
Zion
two
in there.
MVPs twice in a row.
And Jason Tatum and
And Tatum.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Did you know he like idolized Kobe? Then he like works with Kobe.
Nah, Joker may be up there. I don't know. I don't know how I put third, but so you have Luka over Joker?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I have Luka over you.
So then that two MVPs don't matter then, because you put a person don't have MVPs.
I'm saying in the business mindset.
Gotcha.
Right.
In a marketable
market, I have someone who's going to be easier to market all over the world than your typical American people.
He has to talk more though, ain't he? He has to talk more. If he's going to get MVP and all, they're going to make him talk. They're going to make him marketable. He has his own shoe line now and all. Mm-hmm. They're going to make it where he has to talk. He knows that's coming. It's going to be uncomfortable. He has to go in and do that. But
when he gets better English, I'm going to be very excited.
Yeah, I just think it's up to Cubes and Nico. That's really what it is, because I think the media wants Luka to leave.
And that should be a huge thing with Nico too. Like that should really be a refined approach for them as far as the marketing aspect of Luka. Because if you're going to change the perception, I would assume that's probably like one of the best resources that you've brought in recent years. So yeah, that's huge. With Dirk, they never were able to kind of create this idea of Dallas being a destination. Part of that is because the perception of Dirk didn't really change until the title. And then after that, you blew up the title team, caught flack for that. And then Dirk was too old to really to draw guys in. And so it just...
He's 55 now.
Yeah.
Can I ask you guys, how do y'all feel about Nico?
I love Nico.
Yeah, no, Nico's saying that he wants to take his time with building the team around Luka. How do y'all feel about that? Because we all know, if you take a little too long,
you can't regress. You can't risk like a couple of years of the team regressing. If they have a couple of years in a row where they kind of step back, like the Hawks, for instance, the year before they were in the East Finals, and then they got through the playing game before getting like just trashed, right? Yeah, so
I believe.
Yeah. So if they were to have like another ho-hum year or whatever, whether it's playoffs or early exit, whatever, or where somehow don't make the playoffs, although I like what they've done, then the perception of them changes drastically. Now, I think Luka, you've got some time, but if you're building everything around him, the pace at which they got to the West Finals, I think was like perfect. Getting to the West Finals shows significant growth, but by losing in 5, you kind of illustrated like, okay, this team still has a lot it has to do to really compete. If you lose in 6 or 7, then there's a temptation to kind of run too much of it back. So it's like the perfect level of success, if that makes sense. Like if you're going to get beat, it's almost the ideal, looking ahead and staying motivated. But if you have a couple years then when you slide back, now it's the double-edged sword now, where it feels like you're regressing and that patience might waver just a little bit. I think Luka's more patient maybe, but I still don't mess with, if you got a generational guy, you don't want too long of a process before getting to that next level.
Nico's slow is still faster than Donnie's.
And
Nico just tells the truth. Like Nico just tells you he's going to go out there and take his time, not get anybody wild, but he still makes the great small pieces. Like he got rid of Josh Richardson for us. Josh Richardson was horrible. He got us Reggie Bullock instead of that. He got rid of Street Clothes for us. He got us Spencer Dinwiddie. Like we still have a roster space left open now that he says he really wants to use. He says he's going to watch out, and in the middle of the year he'll decide if somebody comes around and the team doesn't work. Like I love Nico. I think Nico's been a godsend for us. So it's just about him taking his time. I think he understands ball. He's a hooper himself. So I'm fine. I think that's awesome. I just think the new regime is perfect. Actually, I think Cubes is, as long as he steps back, we'll be okay.
Now, this question should go to the Mav fans, like say on Twitter, because I know the one word within Mav fandom is patience. I know that's a cuss word to a lot of Mav fans, because like King just said, you got a generational player, and now it's like, let's go. Let's get this going right now. We got this guy. Now we need these championships. Let's go. And so with him saying he's trying to be patient, it's like, to me, I think we can be patient because of what the team that we do have. It's not like we got, Darren Collison and OJ Mayo right now, and he's saying be patient. You know what I'm saying? You got a team that pretty much just came from the Western Conference Finals, so you have some talent there. And with, like what TGK said, with him being the equalizer, like I pretty much guarantee that they'll get 50 wins off the jump. It's just gonna depend on where they fall at in that pecking order in the West. But they're not bad, and he's saying be patient. They're a good team, and he's saying be patient. He's just saying wait for that moment, because you don't want to just add just anybody in here, y'all. You want it to be where it's like that person you add fits in seamlessly. So
yeah,
I'm cool with the patient thing. Like I said, if it was different, if we had like those guys just named off and he was saying being patient, I'm like, yo, come on, man, you got to come on with it. But I'm cool with it being patient because he's making some of the like smart moves. Where like King said, you're getting the Christian Woods for this mouse and this here microphone, this top right here. So I'm cool with that. You know what I mean?
I think. Oh, go ahead, TGK.
No, go ahead.
All right. I think the fun thing about the
TGK, I still think
I think
can't hear him, man.
Yeah. No.
Check the source of your mic on your stream.
He probably got to leave and come back.
I can't remember how I got
already.
But I had to do the same thing when I came in. But yeah, I think the thing that makes me comfortable with Nico saying that is we're a year away from being able to reset our draft pick situation as far as trading our draft picks. Like once this Knicks pick conveys in 2023, our full slate of draft picks opens up to us. The team has enough young guys that can take another step. Like we were talking about Frank, Josh, Jaden Hardy, being able to take another step and make the team better without us having to go external. We added Christian Wood, who's still kind of young, who is in the best situation he's ever been in. He's going to potentially be able to make our team better. We didn't give up anything crazy to get him, so we didn't hurt ourselves long-term as far as assets go. I think the thing I like about Nico is I feel like he views the team and he views basketball the same way I kind of do, and that works for me mentally. Like, if an opportunity comes around, I don't think he's going to pass it up just because he said he's going to be patient. He's just not going to aggressively pursue that next big star. Like eventually somebody out there, some young dude is going to be disgruntled and is going to want to go away from his team. And we need to have playable players, a pick package that we can throw to go ahead and get them. You don't have to actively look for that.
Ding, ding, ding. Our picks, Bibs. There you go. We got all our picks back now. And now, like you said, wait for that one guy. I think that's where Nico thinks the team is. I think that's where the organization thinks the team is. That one guy can put us over the top. So right now, with all your picks and all, you wait for that disgruntled guy that you think that can help, and you go great.
Really one every year, so.
And Luka's 5-year deal just kicked in. So for me, we got 2 or 3 years before we need to necessarily pull that trigger.
Absolutely.
Do you already think that Luka would be in that position where he's like, I'm ready to go, like I got to get out of here because they're not doing anything?
Yes. Yes, bro. Yes.
I think we need to operate as in that mindset.
I don't want to fuck around and find out.
I think if he wins a championship, if you win him a championship in this contract right here, I think he'll stay. If he doesn't, I'm telling you, between the media, like we just said, push him to go somewhere else. Between the conversation of how
push him to Miami, to LA,
between the conversation how great he is already, the conversation the way he could be as far as a player at the end of his career, he has to win championships. That's why I say it's on Mark and Nico heavy, because Luka isn't even the type. One championship is a failure for him. The way he looks right now, one is a failure. He has to win multiple championships.
Yep. In terms of overall legacy, that might be the case, but Dirk's got one here, and Dirk's a god in Dallas. So if Luka does that, then he probably. I mean, Dirk obviously 21 years. It's a build reputation over a greater period of time, but I don't think Luka has to get 4 or 5 in Dallas for him to be like upheld and like viewed in this way. I think if he gets 1, he'll be put like on that 1A. Or 1B, whatever tier next to Dirk. But yeah, in terms of his ceiling, his individual greatness, 1 would be definitely the low end. It would be the absolute minimum. And even then you'd be like, man, what went wrong there?
Well, I think DDP, I think most folks in Dallas, they may see Dirk as their GOAT right now, from what I see, because I'm not over there with you guys. But I think most folks believe that Luka should be better than Dirk at the end of his career. So that's why the 1 is like kind of low. And also on this show, we talk a lot by saying that we think that Mark Cuban did Dirk wrong by just winning 1. Dirk should have won way more than 1 championship.
He could have had 3.
I say at least 3.
Yeah, like 03, the injury. We don't even got to include 06 because that was, I guess, a meltdown. And plus, if you want to use the Tim Donaghy excuse for the finals, then you got to use it for the Rockets game. But then 07, if we would have beat the what was it, the
Warriors
in the last game
we
of
believe
the season.
Warriors. Oh, you're talking about knocking them out of the playoffs.
Season, they would have knocked out the playoffs. Would have been playing the Clippers.
Yeah, I don't like talking about
would have
that
won
year.
a championship. 2011, like Mark Cuban and them let Dirk down, and that's why I think Dirk should be higher on the totem pole than he is. Dirk should be the guaranteed, like I feel like unanimous second best power forward in the league. Like I think that should be the case, but it's not. You got conversations with like Kevin Garnett and even other guys they talk about as far as Dirk. And like when you look head to head, Dirk destroys Kevin Garnett. We all know that as far as being Maverick fans and all, but it's not like that. So I think that's an underachievement that Dirk is so low. Dirk is probably fighting for a top 20 of all time spot. Like people probably would argue that top 15 to 20. Luka is seen to be, I think, a guy right now to be a top 10. Like that's what they're putting his level on, like the way he looks. He should be a top 10 player because every year he's in the argument for the best player that year of all time. Yeah. So I think he has to win multiple. Like I think 3 is where we're talking about Larry Bird level. Like he needs, I think, to compete with Larry Bird. I think that's what he's the guy that can finally compete with him. Dirk couldn't do it. Dirk was he's not Larry Bird. He's good, but he's not there. I think Luka is that guy.
I think another difference.
Gonna say? Oh, my bad.
Who was
TGK? I was trying to see if your stuff working now.
Yeah, let's see. Is he frozen?
He's frozen.
He's frozen. Yeah, I think
he's not having a good luck with all this.
No.
Yeah, he
I was gonna say
your argument was so good. He's just stunned. He's trying to recover.
Rendered him speechless. I think one of the differences between Luka and Dirk is that Luka's been good for his entire life. And he's expecting himself to be great. Dirk came in, he still says it to this day. He didn't know he was going to be good. He didn't know if he was going to make it in the NBA. So he's going to be
in the top German league before he got here.
Right. Like he's going to be more content with what his trajectory ended up being than Luka's going to be struggling away to try to get somewhere and maybe breaking through once every 5 or 6 years. I think that's why I put that 2 to 3 year timeline on it. To have us in a position to at least be a Western Conference regular at that point. Like we have to be back to the Western Conference Finals by then. I think the good thing about the team is I think they realized that last year, I don't want to say it was a fluke, but we exceeded expectations by getting to the Western Conference Finals. I think everybody's aware of that. I think DDP made the point. Losing in 5 kind of was like a reminder that we're not quite there yet. I think that that's valuable for everybody within the team, but a lot of our dudes are like 30 years old. So again, 2-3 year timeline, that's going to put them out where they're going to start trickling down, and we're going to need to have replaced them with guys behind them. You pointed out the way the media works. We've seen it over and over. We saw it with Giannis. That contract starts getting close to coming up, and they're going to start talking about him leaving. They're going to start, what would he look like in a Lakers uniform? What would he look like in Boston? Oh, a Luka and Tatum combination would be amazing. Like, we're going to hear that.
Title,
That's where that 2-3 year thing comes from, because they'll still have a couple years
working.
Contract.
We got
finally. My bad, guys. There's so much going on over here, man. It's all over the place.
I was waiting to see
so many times I wanted to jump in, and I couldn't even get a word in, or this mic wasn't working. So my bad, man.
I was waiting to see TGK pop up in a 5th location. Like, go ahead, man. I'll let you jump.
He's like outside your door, like.
I mean, we got dogs, mosquitoes, everything going on. I was like, man, let me just run inside, man.
Yeah, go ahead, man. You've been waiting a long time.
No. I think what was the question with the whole? I forgot which point. There were so many points to speak on.
Christian Wood.
Run it back. Start the show over.
With Luka being like this, the global force, right? Like, is he going to be able to break that? I think I forgot who said it. Whoever speaks bilingual. I speak Spanish. My people from Mexico, and so when he went to Mexico and did it, Mexico, and all that, like it hit a chord with them. So there's definitely a big Mexican fan base behind Luka just because he could speak Spanish to that. And then when he does post-game shows, he always has like 2 Spanish questions, 2 questions in Slovenia or whatever. I forget what the language was, Serbia language. So there's so many things to him just because he could speak different languages. I obviously agree with the English one. If he could polish that one up, he'd be nice. But you can already tell he don't like doing post-game or any interviews at all. But I think in the long run, I think as soon as he starts understanding it like Dirk did, because Dirk's English is really great now, once he starts getting that down, the sky's the limit. In places with Jordan, his shoes, they're already a hit. Like, I got a friend that has every single pair. He even has the Paris colorway.
That's
Like,
the
he has
problem.
all of them. And he had a friend that stayed in Paris and shipped them over here. So there's people that are diehards already for just any of his products. So he already has the diehards. It's just getting to that general audience. And it's going to take him collaborating with Mark Cuban to get that done, and Jordan. But he's going to get there, man. I think he'll figure it out eventually. If he can stay in Dallas for one summer, that'll be enough.
I think that can also play a big role into getting potentially big free agents and people.
Which
talking
is why I
about,
asked that. So yeah.
Yeah. Because it was kind of shifting a little bit this year. I forgot the player it was for, but what I was beginning to see is the Mavericks, because of Luka, are in the NBA zeitgeist. So anytime there's a player that might be disgruntled and they're looking for, like when they're talking about
Kyrie,
Beal, I think.
Like Kyrie.
Yeah, Kyrie. Yes. That's a good one. So every time you hear about Kyrie and his disgruntled, people are like, I wonder what he would look like in Dallas next to Luka.
Or like Wendy talking about LeBron coming to Dallas to end his career.
Exactly. Which was never really the case with Dirk. As great as Dirk was, no one was really, even when Dwight was a free agent and Dwight had meetings with Dallas, no one was really ever talking about Dwight coming to Dallas like that.
Mm-hmm.
They were always talking about him going to Houston with James Harden, right? Because James Harden was such a force early on in his Houston stay that he took the league by storm, and it was in the forefront of everyone's mind, at least in the media. So if Luka can get big in the media, they can start. I'm not sure. I don't know how it works. Like really, like people are like, you should go here, but at least people talking about him, maybe that gets the agents to think about that, and then maybe they'll start pushing guys over to Dallas to pair up with Luka.
Yeah.
So I'm really
And then the last point that I had that I wanted to jump in, I forgot who mentioned it. Somebody with Nico talking about being patient. Just real quick.
Yeah.
I think Dibs. I think you said it. He has no choice but to be patient because of that trade we did for street clothes.
Oh.
So we really can't even like go all in on a player that'll complete this team, quote unquote, complete the team. So we do have to be patient because we owe New York one more pick. Mm-hmm. Is that right? So after that, then anything's possible. So just a real quick point on that, but that's it.
Anything's possible.
I knew you were going to do that.
Good.
We're not cycling back to Garnett talk.
You can have Garnett.
Yeah. I was going to say, guys, I'm pressed on time. I'm about to have to.
Yeah, we can go ahead and wrap it up.
Okay. I'm not trying to. You guys can keep talking. I'm not trying to be like.
Oh, no.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm having a lot of fun. I can keep going.
Yeah.
Definitely to do it again.
This is fun. I appreciate you guys bringing me on. Definitely interested whenever we run these back.
And by the way, people watching, I have all of their info, their Twitters and their shows and podcasts in the description down below, guys. So if you guys can go ahead and follow them and check out their different shows and stuff like that, that'll definitely be appreciated. But like I said, hey guys, we definitely appreciate y'all hopping on, man. It was a long time coming. We follow you guys. We follow your work. You know what I'm saying? So it was always a dream of ours to have you guys hop on and just talk Mavs with us, guys. We definitely appreciate it. Me and King, King, I guess I can tell them now. This, for the people watching, this is our season finale of We Talk Mavs. We're going to get ready to go back to doing our post-game shows, guys. Post-game shows will be starting on October 5th as we play the, Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah.
Yep. Oklahoma City Thunder at 7 o'clock. So we'll probably be back at about 10 o'clock that night to do the post-game shows, guys. So we hope to see you there. King, is there anything I'm missing?
Share, and more share everybody's stuff. All of us, we all make our living, I guess, or trying to make a living or do any of this for you guys. So we appreciate all the sharing that you guys do. Thank you.
And also, guys, y'all see our socials down here at the bottom. If you guys want to follow us on We Talk Mavs on Twitter and We Talk _Mavs on Instagram. All right, guys. With all that being said, guys, I got me, your boy Real, got my boy King. All the people's names on the screen is throwing me off. Got King on, got guest DDP, got Enyi, got Bibs, got my boy TGK, and we'll be back here, guys. On what day is that on? It's 5th. Is that a Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Yes, that's a Wednesday.
Wednesday.
And I'm getting married on next Friday. So
Wednesday invite, bruh.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
He said, "Where the invite, man?"
Where the
He
invite?
said, "Where's
Hey,
the
he's
invite?"
not thanking you for
I
anything.
didn't say congratulations. I said, where the
Oh,
invite?
I'm gonna say, just a little private, you know, saying a little ceremony. So if y'all guys want to come out to the dinner, y'all
Drop the registry or something. You gotta.
Yeah, congrats, bro.
You know what I'm saying? We're not really
Hey,
registered right now.
congrats,
It's a whole lot. It's a lot. But I'll probably let y'all guys know. But yeah, with all that being said, guys, this is your boy Real. Got my boy King, DDP, Enyi, Bibs, TGK. And we'll be out.
Bibs don't need no more followers. He's ready like top dog in Mavs Twitter.
I need a couple.
You don't need no more followers. Y'all can everyone who follows Bibs, please follow me.
So I scrape it up with
Light.
followers.
TGK said he out.
Yeah.
Run that exit music. Run it.